What's going on, everybody? It's your man, Hunter Grand, your personal agent for change, making life easy, Barzini.
And I'm Fempreneur Extraordinaire, Tech Diva all day, Dre Renee.
And this is the Crossroads, where there's only one rule.
Be free to be you. Trying to decide what look I want.
Listen, I'm going to tell
Hair
you.
to the front, hair to the back.
The countdown was going and my volume, my audio wasn't in the right place. And I'm like,
oh,
I think
I unmuted you before. That's why I said make sure you're ready, and then I unmuted
right.
your mic.
Well, no, because I was here.
But I think I might have unmuted it a little early because I heard a little.
You did, so I was like, oh, so I was like, my mic was hot. So y'all, we always got something.
We'll get it together.
Yeah, we gonna need a line producer.
Yeah,
we got our EP. We gonna need somebody in the van. And shout out to the Texas College Steers. I'm rocking my TC today. Drake giggled at Drake giggled at me and I was like, look, my sweater. She was like, oh, that's cute. I know
I wasn't trying to be any particular way. It's a rough day, y'all. Just it's not rough. I don't want to make it sound worse than it is. It's just been a hectic day. How about that?
I got you.
It's been a hectic day. I am learning something new. Mm-hmm. And so it is, taxing my brain a little bit. I have a new schedule. I have, there's just different things going on. And Tuesdays, everybody loves Tuesdays. I don't know what it is.
I started to make a Tuesday joke until I realized it is Tuesday because I was like, that just sounds like Tuesday in your life. Like,
yeah.
And then I was like, oh, wait, shit, it is Tuesday.
It is Tuesday. Well, yeah. So
I'm going to show you the kind of day I've been having. Because it ain't a Red Bull night. I actually don't need Red Bull. I don't feel like I need a Red Bull.
Oh, good for you.
I'm a bit exhausted, but it's different. So the last couple of days, I did I promised you specifically and myself in general that I was going to be doing better with my health and fitness and stuff like that. So, never mind the alcohol.
Right.
Hey, the hat is kind of cabbie, ain't it though?
It's pretty nice.
Yeah, but no, I've been eating better. I feel lighter. I feel better. I had a little more energy the last couple of days. So I feel great about that. Got a little mini workout in yesterday. I'm back on that tomorrow. I made all my health appointments tomorrow. So I'm going to see like three different doctors, the dentist, the optometrist, so I can get trying to get. I can't be zaddy if I'm not. You know what I'm saying? I want to. So
Well, even if that's the reason, I'm still.
It's part of it.
In part, I was. So I felt like, yay, part of that. But in all seriousness, we talk about it. On the show, taking care of yourself, like being free to be you is the mantra, if you will. But we also want you to be alive to be you, and to be mobile and in your right mind, and all of the things that come with being healthy. And at this point in our lives, a lot of us have already developed some habits that may not be the best, or perhaps just at this time of life, the things that you used to do, even if they're not necessarily bad, you just can't do them anymore. It just is what it is. And so, we really would implore you to do things that will be preventative. But also, if you find yourself in a situation where things are going on, then, be corrective, right? So going to the doctor to find out all the things that are going on, or if there's nothing going on, that's really a good thing. Is minimal. So if you haven't done that, if you haven't had, a checkup, or you're not doing an annual checkup, or maybe you are, and your doctor says, I need to see you every quarter, right? And so just staying up on your appointments is important. And then also doing what the doctor says to do. Right? If the doctor says, hey, lay off this, ease up on this, take this, do it. Because, I personally have been in that position where, I thought, okay, something that the doctor said would be something that I had to deal with for the rest of my life. But please understand, when you do your body better, your body will do better. Right. And so there are certain things that I was able to
Mhm.
reverse just by changing habits. So, going to the gym is one of those things. If you're not able to go to the gym, making sure that you get some steps in, moving your body, doing those things, very important. We talked about, nutrition, know what works for you, right? Fruits,
Mhm.
vegetables, protein, complex carbs, all those good things, get them into your
Yeah.
body. Water, here I am, even though I don't care for the colors. Um, you know, uh,
I
get
can
your
dig
water
it.
on,
I
get your
got
water.
my hydration. But
Yeah,
yeah,
so
that's what
we
I've been
can we
doing
care
too.
about you, and we're doing it too. And I told
Yeah.
Bugsy we need to, figure out a way to hold ourselves accountable, and you
For
all,
each other.
right? Like we're
Mhm.
all doing this together. So,
Right.
any
So,
nutritionists that are watching us or health people, go ahead and put
or,
it in the chat or
or
send us a message.
mass Googlers. But the one thing that I've been off of, I haven't had carbs in a couple of days, and that's kind of really made all the difference.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know me. I love French fries. I
I
love a good
never met a
French fry.
fry I didn't like, but
Ooh.
you
Now I've met
gotta,
some fries that I don't like. I'm a fry
well,
connoisseur. You
yeah,
gotta.
there are some that are better than others. There's
Yeah.
some that are better. I know my stuff
So
a little. Okay.
yeah,
Shout
yeah.
out to a little. Well, put some advice in there for our fellow roadies and road dogs. If there's some things that you think, I tried to share a couple of pointers, but if you have some, health fitness tips that might help. And I understand, bite-sized pieces help as well, right? Because
Hmm.
it can feel like, oh, this big mountain or something that's insurmountable. So you can really start with, 20 minutes of this, or adding or detracting this from your plate. Not everything you ever loved at one time. It'll be very hard to maintain that and create a
Hmm.
lifestyle, because that's what we really want. Goodbye to
Yeah.
diets and fads and all that kind of thing. And like, let's just create a new life. I was telling hashtag boo when I first went keto, which I'm on my way back to. Probably not keto specifically, but definitely low carb. But I didn't feel like, oh, I couldn't have anything. I just learned how to replace certain things. So that's
Hmm.
another, like, if you are trying to break a habit, then you may want to replace it with something. It might be very hard for some, yourself,
Hmm.
just to cut out something like, oh, I'll never have this again. Well, are there alternatives? Is it something that gets you really, really close, but is not,
Hmm.
bad? Those are the types of things that have helped me. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And I'll
talk
say
on.
this: there's an influx of ED medications that you're seeing ads for. Like you
Mhm.
seeing Blue Chew and Hims and Roman and all this other stuff. And there's I guess they're saying there's an influx of young men that are having to use these medications, and a lot of that has to do with diet,
Mm.
like diet, exercise, sleep, and stress. Like there's so much. So we pay a lot of attention to women's bodies, and women go to the doctor, and women have this going on and that going on, and and I think we're a lot more familiar with the ongoings of women's body and women's health, because we're it's kind of out in the forefront. But men are super hush hush about it, because a lot of men don't know their bodies, and doesn't know that we don't know what's going on with their bodies.
Mm.
um and one huge thing is hormonally, your testosterone, and
Oh,
we've
look,
we've
and we
talked about
just
it
got
before.
some about, yeah, low
Hmm.
testosterone right here in the,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So a lot of that stuff, your testosterone is so important, fellas. So a lot of times you don't attribute it to, you're feeling things and you don't attribute it to it. So your mental fog, lack of energy, your sleep, your muscle density, all these things, like your strength,
Mm.
your libido, all of this is connected to your testosterone production. And as you get older, around 35, 40, your testosterone begins to drop and sometimes plummet, you know. And so all these things, when you see, you used to be kind of like cut and muscular, and now your body is a little bit more flabby. You start getting like the man boobs. Your testosterone is dropping. When you see like slimmer guys with big bellies, that's a sign of low testosterone. Your changes in your emotions, right? Your testosterone is dropping. You're um more emotional. You might be finding you're watching a movie and you start crying. Like these are hormonal changes that are happening in your body that you're not aware of. Vitamin D deficiencies, all of these things, and they're all connected, and can lead you into depression as well. So it's, you know your mental health, your physical health, your sleep, your diet, all these things are connected, to just function as a person and as a man. You
Mm-hmm.
and one indicator that you want to pay attention to is your morning wood. You know what I'm saying? If that's not as strong as it used to be or not happening, it's likely your testosterone has dropped significantly,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because, and the reason why morning wood is so significant and why a lot of men want to get it in the morning and have sex in the morning is the body produces testosterone in your sleep, right? That's so your semen production and your testosterone production happens while you're asleep. So first thing in the morning, your testosterone is at its highest point because it's being produced while you're asleep. So when you go get checked for your T levels, they always want to do it early in the morning, because that's when your testosterone is the highest. So if
Okay.
you waking up in the morning and your T is if your T when your T is low in the morning, your T is low,
It's low.
right? It's
Okay.
low. So do the research, fellas. Like, don't be afraid. There are treatments out there. There are diet plans, exercise. Definitely, if you're in the gym, do not skip leg day. Working on your legs boosts your testosterone. A lot of foods that you want to eat. You want to eat your healthy fats. And all that sugar and processed stuff, never mind what I'm drinking now, but also alcohol, you know, a lot of alcohol. So you want to cut back on that. So the older that you get, you have to be, or start young, really. You have to be
Mm-hmm.
more cognizant of, like Dre said, what you put in your body is what you're going to get out. Like,
Yeah.
period, and put more living things in your body as much as possible because you are a living thing. You're a living organism. And if you're putting more dead things in your body than living things, then your body is literally dying. And it's hard because eating is emotional. It's not
Yeah.
physiological. We eat typically, one, we don't understand the signals that our body is telling us. So a lot of times we're thirsty, but we eat because thirst feels like hunger.
Hunger. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So before you eat, drink some water. You might have just been thirsty, you know. Um and just watch like the heavy foods and the starches and stuff like that because it just weighs you down. So we can, the show wasn't about this tonight, but it's just so
No,
important.
but you might see an episode for season 2, I'm sure,
Yeah.
where
So
we get into some health stuff and, not just health for yourself, but we are the age range, right? Millennials, Zennials, and Gen X. Look, we are in the age range where our parents now are dealing with some things, right? God bless if that is not your story. But you want to be aware to be able to help them, but also make sure that you don't follow down the path, particularly if there are some things that are on your family tree and that you may be predisposed to. So it's important to know for yourself. Those of you who have children, start developing those habits early. Like, I'm very sensitive when I see, smaller children with these interesting habits. And I'm like,
mhm,
oh my gosh, I wish, we would have known better or, been more focused on it so that it's not this drastic change of life in your 30s and 40s.
mhm,
If it's built in when you're 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So for
mhm.
those of you who are already doing that, kudos to you for your children. If you're living that way yourself, and definitely, sharing it with your
Yeah.
elders. And I know the elders, child, they like, look, I've been
Yeah.
doing this and this is
Mhm.
what I'm gonna do. But we have to share with them, what we know. I really, I appreciate my mom. She calls every day, and it's really cute to tell me, that she's done her water aerobics or she's gotten her 10,000 steps. She just started weight training, and she's just like, I don't, want you guys to have to take care of me. Like, I want to still be able to do all the things that I've always done. So,
Mhm.
that's
Yeah,
helpful as well.
yeah. And that, cholesterol or blood pressure. I'm on those medications right now and want to get off of them.
Hmm.
So
Well,
it's
thank you for sharing that with us. I put it in my browser for me to look up
yeah.
um, the suggestion that you have here. I don't know if it's only in pill form, if it's found, in any foods or anything like that, but I'm definitely going to do my due diligence and look that up as well. So
Yeah,
thank you for sharing.
most definitely.
All
Um,
right. Now that we done made y'all feel away.
right. You know, we don't apologize for it. We want y'all to be healthy, but
Oh, yeah.
these bills got to be healthy too, so we may as well pay them real quick. So, as always, y'all, the Crossroads podcast is brought to you by the House of 334.
It's the house.
For all your business branding and copyright needs, go to houseof334.com. It is black owned, it is woman owned, it is black woman owned, and it is amazing. And make sure you move quick because the house will fill up fast. The Crossroads podcast is also brought to you by the Crossroads. Y'all can find all of our links and everything that we're doing at our bit.ly. That's bit.ly/the Crossroads, THEXROSSROADZ. And there's a very important link in there where you can make a donation. Y'all, this is a labor of love, but love ain't free. And if you think it is, go tell your landlord that you love them. It's almost like a Coming to America. Yo, Stu, yo, rich dude, motherfucker. So we don't ever want to be stupid. So we appreciate everybody that continues to donate to the show that keeps this going. But more than donations, guess what? How you can help us? You're watching us on YouTube right now. Please scroll down, hit that subscribe button, y'all. We are getting so close to our goal. So if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Hit the bell so you can get notifications when the show comes on. Share this with your friends, y'all. We are less than 100 subscribers away from our next goal, so we're trying to reach it, and we appreciate all the support there. And also, look for new things that are coming. I just submitted to have something formatted today, which is my second publication that will be releasing this year, which is Champion Traits, Developing the Winning Mind. And that's in addition, if you don't have my first book, Hello Me, Nice to Meet You, A Journey to Self-Discovery, right? You can go get that at barzinibooks.com. And then my second book, Champion Traits, Developing the Winning Mind, is done, and I'm well into my third book. So this is actually, I'll announce it now, that's being pinned. That's been in the works for a while, which is Diary Day 1531. So
it's going down.
It's going down. It's going down.
I love it. It's going in
right
for your life. I love it.
Right. Well, I mean, pretty soon when I get done with that, then I'm going to be recording the audio books, and there's more material that's coming. So between the podcast and the business stuff, and the entrepreneur, the tech diva extraordinary, y'all, we trying to do some things.
We are trying to do some things. We're trying to do some things. Oh, so there was a FYI here about BP medicines that are statins can affect the kidneys. Yeah, and that's why it's just important for us to do the best we can with the food we eat, because by the time you get on the meds, it just causes other things. It's very hard to get away from something else breaking down while you're trying to repair the first thing. So it's like, let's do the best we can with the first thing.
Yeah. So
I understand that.
I definitely want to wean myself off of the medication. It's not ideal, but sometimes it's immediate. When it spikes, you got it.
Oh yeah, take the meds, but do the work so that you can, because you can, you can make it off.
And y'all, it's just, you just way sexier when you take care of yourself, and I like being sexy.
Agree.
You know what I'm saying? So I can be on the phone like,
oh Lord,
just got out the gym. You know what I'm saying? It's not, I ain't gonna hold you.
It's a different look. It's a different feel. I was looking at some pictures of myself. I was like, oh my gosh, everybody went up during the pandemic, and I went down. And I was like, I got to get back to
Mhm.
2020 and 2021. Life has been real good. I'll just say that in the midst of, some other things happening, I'm just happier, of
Right.
course, being married, being a newlywed, and
Hey.
getting into that groove, and
Mhm.
just not worrying about some of the things that I used to worry about. And
Like
so,
you said, getting guiltless sex.
yeah, it's just all
Or should we
all of the things, all of the
should we say
things that are
sanctioned?
blessed.
It's now sanctioned.
Sanctions, sanctions, sinless, guiltless. Yeah, you don't have none of those thoughts. Like, yeah,
Right, right.
you get it
You
in and
know,
you
this is
go.
so this is a weird thought, and this is so random, but it just popped in my head because people are like, you shouldn't have premarital sex because God is always watching you. So does God close the door when you get married? Like, oh, we can't look at that there, man. Like, God, first of all,
No, no, he
like,
sees everything all
like
the
he in there, like like, hey, look, Jay, like, you getting it in, boy, you putting it down or not.
Oh my Lord, have mercy.
I mean, I'm sure God doesn't view sex the way we do because He
No,
created it. It's
yeah.
just, like I wonder, like this is so random, and it might be the liquor. This is random. Like, so we'll be watching like National Geographic, or you'll see animals do it, and we're like, you see a couple of
Yeah.
rhinos getting it in. It's like, oh, look at that. But like when we see other humans, it's like, oh, you got to log onto a website and create a login or whatever. But what if people, and I'm pretty sure at some point in time they did, um, if people just did it randomly out in the open like animals do, because it's just mating, it's just a thing.
My God. Yeah. No. Don't nobody go out and do that. Okay.
I mean, I've seen it, but
Yeah, there's some people who like to be looked at.
mhm,
And some people who like to watch. Those are
right,
things
right,
we weren't talking about that in particular, but I was saying, how everybody has their thing.
mhm,
Everybody has the thing that makes them feel some kind of way. I guess our EP had sent something to one of the social media DMs. And so I guess I didn't look at it, so I don't know the name, but he told me about it. One an athlete or whatever liked something, and we talked about these likes. Now we talked about these likes. When you're in social media and you like something, for the most
eh,
part everybody can see what you like, so just
especially
do
Twitter.
with that what you will. But yes, on Twitter, liked something in particular that I believe he meant to be private. And then, once people were like, hey, we could see your likes, then I think his whole account went private. But I was saying, like, everybody has their thing,
Mhm.
your tendency, your like, your weird something.
Your
I think the
kinks.
issue, yeah, your kinks, the issue is that now everything is so public, right? It's just like
Mhm.
before you didn't know who liked what and did what, and now it's for regular consumption, and people judge when they either don't understand or they don't agree or what have you. And so you
Mhm.
should probably keep those
Yeah.
things to yourself.
It's yeah, y'all. You don't have to let the world know what you like
Mm-mm.
and appreciate. You ain't got to be in the comment section on the porn site to let them know it's your cookies
I'm
is
a fan of this.
like
Mm.
so y'all we all over the place. So what we talking about? What were we scheduled to talk about
We're scheduled to
this
talk
week?
about, well, last week, when we wrapped up, one of our roadies was letting us know that Keke Palmer was starring in this music video with Usher. And so we only had little tidbits at the time because they were teasing it. But since then, the videos actually come out, and it's called Boyfriend. And the kind of the buzz line, if you will, was Usher saying, "I heard your boyfriend was looking for me. I ain't
Mhm.
hard to
Ain't hard
find,"
to
or
find.
something. Yeah. And so, of course, unless you've been living under a rock, You know that Keke Palmer was at Usher's concert with buns out down to the Las Vegas Park MGM, and her boyfriend at the time, I don't know if they're still together, son's father took to Twitter to say, "You a mom though."
Right. Right.
And ever since then,
He's been getting drugged and trolled,
yeah,
and I saw the video. I'm not a fan of the song. It was. I mean, I thought the video was a little creative when she's recreating like his old videos, and you ain't got the call and all that other stuff. But
do you think Usher has gotten to the point, because there are certain people at a point where like new music, and like you don't ever have to do new music, but you can live forever off your old music. Do you think he's gotten to that point, or do you think he can still do another Confessions?
I think.
And those of you who are watching,
I think Usher's at that level where anything he puts out will sell, right? It's kind of like he's reached he's Usher level. And now do I think he's reached that level to where, so there's certain artists, like no matter what they put out, people are gonna be like, oh, you see what I'm saying? I think like a Beyonce, it don't matter what she puts out. You see what I'm saying? And I think Beyonce control the world. Like she can go in the studio and purposely make a trash song, and the world will find a way to justify it and talk about its genius, right? I think Jay-Z is the same way. At his advanced age, as far as rap is concerned. I think Usher, if people don't like it, I think they'll by and large keep quiet about it. Based on his status. I do think he can still do new music. I just don't want him to try to blend in with the young people of today. Like do what you do. I think he can make music that'll transcend, and everybody can enjoy it. But when you have older artists try to turn the clock back and do younger music, it doesn't always translate well. And then that's like you trying too hard. Like, what are you doing? And so I like one of my favorite lines from an older artist is when Rakim did that joint with KRS, Kanye, and Nas, Timeless. And he's got that line when he says timeless. So age don't count in the booth when your rhymes stay submerged in the fountain of youth. So like certain cats got bars, and there's a lot of guys out there with bars, but it's just not in that mumble rap trap music type. So there's a vein for it. So like real MCing is becoming more underground, where like the mumble rap and all that other these guys that I don't even know anymore, because everybody I feel like the old guy, because they all sound the same. And like I got a joke. I don't know how I discovered this, but you can literally say 7 and 9 to any one of those beats and it'll fit. So if you go 7 and 9, 7 and 9, 7 and 7 and 7 and 9, 7 and 9, like that's all it is, as far as like the cadence. So y'all try that. It's almost like you ever, if you want to teach somebody how to beatbox, you ever seen that? Boots and Cats?
Boots and Cats.
So you just like Boots and Cats over and over again. Boots and cats and boots and cats and boots and cats. Like it's just, and you beatbox.
I like it.
Yeah. So I think Usher definitely can still do it. I don't think can and should are two different.
And should. I was feeling that, like, now should he?
Now should you? His catalog is deep enough. His celebrity is big enough for him to live off of the work that he's done. Hence the residency, right? Like, I haven't seen the concert, but I doubt he's doing new music because that's not what people are going to see.
Well, so before this song, he had another single that had just come out maybe a couple months ago called Glue. Because actually, when I went in March, the song hadn't come out yet. It was like coming out that week, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna do a new song for you guys." And I remember thinking, like, please don't, and I love Usher, but I was just like, I don't want to hear anything new.
Right.
And it wasn't bad, but it wasn't
It
anything
wasn't
I would
Usher.
write home
Like
about.
it's
So
not, yeah. Because you
there's
go to concerts like that to sing along.
yeah,
You see what I'm
that's
saying? And
true
so
too.
when you're
That's
doing
true.
something that you can't sing along to, and maybe you do it like closer to the end of the show after you up there sweating
Mm-hmm.
because you've been
It was kind of
hitting.
like middle to the end before we got
Okay,
into
I'm not mad at that.
yeah,
It's kind
yeah.
of like we're gonna take a break. That's everybody else taking a break from
Mm-hmm.
because this is a collective concert. You know what I mean?
Right,
And then
right.
you get back to it's 7 o'clock on the dot.
There
I'm
you
in the
go.
drop top.
Get the people what they want. Get the people
Right.
what they want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But does anybody know if is Keke Palmer and oh dude, are they still together?
There's been I've seen a whole lot of captions, and I really, really got to shout out Kev on stage for his post. So there was a post with a caption talking about, oh, he's taking her to court. He's trying to get full custody of the kid. He's trying to take her house. And he was like, stop believing everything that got big letters on it. Like, just because it got big letters, just don't make it true.
Oh my
So
God.
I've seen that they've broken up and everything else, but it's the internet. So who knows?
Okay,
So
D, because
yeah.
D brought us the song in the first place.
Right. We talk about this because of you. So
D said officially split. Okay.
right. So yeah,
Dang.
the
And so we
details.
saw memes that were like, or not necessarily memes, but statuses like, oh, you guys cheered Keke to single motherhood.
Okay, so all right. On the outside, visibly, that could be a thing, like put a battery in her back because she's clearly monetizing the whole situation anyway, which I'm not completely mad at. It's his business. But at the same time, we don't know the ins and outs of what was going on, at the house. And so everybody loves to put their mouth on some celebrities' relationships and, oh, well, he wasn't doing this. And, oh, and she was, and I love the whole she was the breadwinner thing. Like, dude wasn't broke.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Was he worth millions? No. But like, when you're dating a multimillionaire, that's that's not code for she's paying for everything. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
So like as far as regular people go, like he's a personal trainer worth a $500,000. Like that's actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Better than the average person. So like y'all are if folks that are calling him broke or this and that, you're calling him that in comparison to a celebrity. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um but I think my major concern with the whole situation, again, because how I advocate for men in safe spaces, is that we can argue that we can argue the way he expressed what he felt, right? Whether
Right.
or not he should have gone public, blah 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 blah. My contention is she did it publicly. He brought it up publicly. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So sometimes you get corrected where you mess up. But regardless of how he did it, he expressed how he felt and got drugged for it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Right or wrong, whatever. It's like it's not a matter of whether you agree or not. It's that was his feeling. You see what I'm saying? And so when it's close to home and it is your family, that's his family, like you think in a certain way, and you're not always right. I'm not saying he's wrong, but I'm not saying he's right. So it's kind of like you're a mother, specifically you're my son's mother, you know.
And I get that, and I know we've talked about this on a previous episode, but I think all of the things are true.
Mhm.
All of the things are true, and what many people, well, I can't say what they would have liked to see because they wouldn't have seen it, but if it was done with those two,
Mhm.
hey, I know you we're excited to go out. You look fantastic. You whatever he could say to her that we don't know, right? You probably haven't been yourself since, you got pregnant or since you had the baby. So I'm glad to see you, blah, blah, blah. But it was a little too much for me,
Mhm.
that type of thing. Like I personally had I had no feeling about how he felt. It did sting a little bit because I thought about like for myself, would I want the person I love to like air me out on social media. But to your point, it
She
was
aired
on
him
social
out.
media. Yeah, it was on social media. So all the things can be true, just depending
Yeah.
on what side you choose to place yourself
Mhm.
on at that point in time. But
Because
since
it
then,
was a no win for him,
no,
right?
no,
Because
because if
remember
he
when I
didn't
like,
say
because
anything,
if it didn't say anything,
mm-hmm,
oh, your girl just out there, you ain't gonna say nothing. I said
yeah,
something. What you say? Like it's if he says nothing, or even if he keeps it in private, he's gonna get drugged, right?
mm,
He said it publicly. He got drugged. Like there is no winning. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So and the thing is, she's got to be mindful of that. Like I'll say that this was very interesting. So I watched Kevin Hart on the Red Table when it was him and Will,
mm-hmm.
and he brought up how his ex-wife, his first two kids' mother, um, was talking to him about the things he says about her in his stand-up. You know,
I always wonder how people feel,
right?
kids included, all of them
Right,
just be
and
getting
so
strays.
she had to like. It's like, yeah, you're telling jokes and you're being funny, but the world is believing it.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to be careful what you say because people believe that, right? So you
Yeah,
don't know when someone's just making a joke because he does relatable comedy. He always talks about his family, so it's like,
yeah,
yeah, he's acting and maybe some things aren't true or some things are true and you embellish it for the show, but as the audience we don't decipher which that is.
which,
So
yeah,
you know, when he make her seem mean and crazy and blah blah blah, like, oh, she was. I'm glad he ain't with her no more.
mm-hmm.
And so she's like, I gotta go out here in the world and people know who I am, and this is they think that this is these things, because you got this platform, you are a major celebrity, you have their ear. She don't get
Yeah,
to go on stage and say, no, that was like, no, that one was not
not
true.
that part.
Not that
Mm-hmm.
part. She don't get to say that. They just take what he says. And so he was like,
Yeah,
he said, I had to be mindful of that because people believe it. He's the celebrity. And so every little thing he does is under a microscope. Now, while Keke Palmer is not Kevin Hart, she's still the noticeable one. She's the celebrity,
mm,
right? So what you do, there's eyes on you. And
yeah,
that is going to affect the people that you're with, your family, and everything else. So even if the child, let's say the child was a little older and in school, like 19 years old, right?
mm-hmm.
And my mama got her ass out on the internet, you know, like, listen, me and the homies, one of the homies, and when I was in junior high school, one of the homies' mom worked at the school, right? I'll tell you who
Mm.
it is later. You notice mom was fine as all get out. And that's hard. You go to school with this fine mama working at the school, and all your homies is like, "Hey, bro, I'm trying to be your step pops."
That's
We
horrible.
see her. We always like, "Hey, miss," and like I said the last time, like, and she was like, "Hey, baby." She was one of them ones that called the kids baby. Like,
Mm-hmm.
she called me baby. you know, and you got to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? Somebody calling your mom's fine and everything else. I
Mm-hmm.
still have trouble with people talking
Y'all
about
ain't
my
right.
dad. My homegirls talking about my dad, and I'm grown. I'm like, man, get off my
Yes, you
goddamn.
do. You be
Like,
acting at your big age. You act up every time.
right.
I believe you
So
said all that.
I said,
Absolutely.
I said, oh, what?
Well, see if she'll follow up.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't, yeah. D said they're officially split. I have not seen that. So I don't know. And we can't confirm. That's why I was trying to see if somebody had a
Mm-hmm.
source. Because it's all been very quiet or on that part, right? But then
Mm-hmm.
we hear all these other things going on. But I think we all thought it was interesting that it's like still go, oh hey, Miss Parker. Yeah, you probably were. Yep.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that way as well. I think I remember who you said it was.
Mm-hmm.
Their mama. So
Oh, you talking about I said all that at school? Yeah, I
Mhm.
did. I still say because it's now his sister fine too.
Yeah,
Look,
a mess.
my bad, my bad. That's still the homie, but look, I can't help it if your mama fine. You know what
I
I'm saying?
can't help it if your mama fine. All right,
So,
let's slide on to the next. Speaking of slides, there's a family with a
mhm.
rift.
Mm.
Okay, with a rift. Both feeling a little blindsided.
Ha! Come on with the puns.
Both feeling a little
Come on with the
blindsided.
puns.
Yeah, yeah. So, Michael Orr, for those of you who do not know, and his family, they were the subject of the movie The Blind Side, which actually won an Academy Award for Best Picture. Also, Sandra Bullock got an Academy Award for her role as well. Well, the real family that was portrayed in that movie that many people love, many people, were like, oh, this it's a beautiful story. And Black people, we're like, can we not get this, white savior
The white
movie?
savior.
Yeah, but okay. So years later, and I can't off the top of my head now, I want to say at least 15 years
Mhm.
at this point that the movie has come out. Michael Orr, who was the subject, says that he just found out that his parents, because the Tuohys, was the couple, allegedly adopted him. Okay, when he was homeless and or in foster care and then homeless, they took him in, adopted him, which allowed for him to then go to college and have this NFL career. He's now alleging that he wasn't adopted and didn't know that he wasn't adopted, but that the Tuohys actually have a conservatorship over him in his business and finances. And okay, let's just say, that happened at that point in time. Like I said, we are now at the point he's, in his 30s, probably almost 40. Why is this still in place? So
Mhm.
he is, trying to get some answers. It's a back and forth thing in the public because, of course, that's where people like to do these things. He wants an accounting of all the money that was made off of his story and his likeness and so on and so forth. I heard this part and I laughed with interest because not don't don't just give me my bread.
Right. I
Put
want the
some butter
bread.
on that.
I want the bread that the bread made.
Yeah, yeah. Put a little butter on that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is, interesting. Some things that I found out, or, at least that I heard from the attorney's account, that the Tuohys are actually well off. And so he's saying, well,
And have been.
yeah, like they don't need his money. So
Mhm.
this is, kind of ludicrous. He went on to make something like $34 million in the NFL. I'm not sure if he's still holding, money or if, something happened with that because everybody's not the best steward or manager of their money. The family's also alleging that he tried to shake them down for 15 mil before this even came out. So not sure if it's true or not, but those are kind of, I won't say the facts. Those are the things that are out there about this
Mm.
situation so far. So, you know, how do you feel? What do we think? This young man who actually, came into their lives, I believe it's something like 16 years old. But by the time all of this happened, he was already 18 years old. And so the Tui said we couldn't adopt him as a legal adult. He's saying they misled me into thinking that I was adopted, but it was actually a conservatorship. Now, the thing that I found interesting, he wrote a book in 2012, which I didn't know anything about. Shout out to research. But he wrote a book where he actually says they
Mhm.
were my legal conservators, which they explained to me was like being my adopted parents.
Mm.
So if that is true, maybe he didn't know what
What a
it
conservatorship
was.
what it meant. Yeah.
but
I'm
you
still
did know.
foggy on what a conservatorship means. Like, because we
Yeah.
went through this with Britney Spears,
Mm-hmm.
and that whole deal. It just translates to me like somebody's controlling your bread, you know.
Right.
Um, but I know the first thing when you first sent me the story last week, my first words was why why now?
Why?
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. You did say that.
Um, but then more information came out because he was like, because I just found out, and then some were saying because he just got married to a black woman, so
That was in the that was in the mix as
so
well. She
she's
probably
like, hold
like,
up, like
what's been
right.
going?
Well, some I guess they've been together for a while and they have a couple of kids, but they're just now getting married. But it sounds
Mm.
like she may have known all along, but now that she's Mrs. Or
Or yeah, like let me just
right,
clean house
look,
up and around here.
exactly, we gonna
Yeah.
get this money, or I'm finna be right.
Mm, mm,
Um,
mm.
but yeah, it's like okay. So the movie, I enjoyed the movie. I think that they misportrayed him. He didn't like how he was portrayed because I remember an interview closer to him in the movie. He was playing that because they portrayed him like as a buffoon. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like he just dumb and he didn't have any skills or anything else. That nature. And he learned how to play football at the end. That doesn't sound quite right. Like you ain't gonna take a conservatorship out on somebody if you don't think that they're gonna make some bread,
Right.
which
Right.
means he had skills, which means that's how he got.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't get NFL level skill. Well, not everybody gets NFL level skills just like out of nowhere, you know.
Right. Because Sandra
Uh,
Bullock gave you a pep talk.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And your little 12-year-old white stepbrother now or adopted brother now is working out with you.
Right. But for
Yeah,
Hollywood,
yeah, yeah.
it works. Yeah. But like you said, people believe
Hmm.
these things, right?
People believe these things, and you look at the dramatization. Like I think my favorite part because it was so over the top dramatic when they were at brunch eating the expensive salads. Like she goes, "You're changing that boy's life." She goes, "No, he's changing mine."
I love it with the accent and everything.
Like, all right, okay, and cut. But now this is what I don't like. I will say this: like, people are coming for Sandra Bullock, like, oh, she need to give the Oscar
I
back.
heard that. Yeah.
That's
No.
look, listen, black people. I'm gonna look at you in the camera, black people. Stop, stop. All right, that's stupid. Okay, okay.
Mm,
Like she was there doing a job. She was portraying. She was doing what the script was. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So, well, yeah, some of it's yeah, exactly. And this is what I think people lose in translation when they see movies that are based on a true story. They're not saying, "Hey, this movie is a true story."
Right.
It's based on, and so Hollywood is always going to take some license for dramatization that, because sometimes it may not be that interesting. They gotta, we're gonna add some characters, we're gonna
Fluff
change
it up.
some, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for so white people will go see it. So
Ah,
for real, like I think the realest part of that movie might have been the concern with him living there with the daughter.
mm-hmm.
Like, are you comfortable? Yeah, I bet she was real comfortable. Um, but no, I hope that I pray that this is um more of a misunderstanding than not. Um, and just some temporary family drama. I
Mm-hmm.
can't appreciate the family helping him out in the way that they did.
Absolutely.
So
I was thinking about that too. It's like, okay, you've had this career and you're on this side of it. And as far as we know, because of course we
mhm,
never know everything, right? We see this family and all these folk like they're there, throughout his collegiate career and your NFL career. They're there and taking snaps, but also of course there to help you even get there
mhm,
because they're talking about the conservatorship was put in place to help with his eligibility
mhm,
to play NCAA football. So, of course, I mean, details matter. And if they were attempting to help him in that way, so to live his dreams. I don't know if that's me or you. I keep hearing a little something.
Oh, I didn't hear that one.
Okay, good. So then hopefully that means nobody else heard it. But that's why I
Uh-huh.
stopped. I don't want y'all to think
Uh-huh.
like, is she having an issue?
That's like
No.
it looked like this just in.
Yeah, I was like,
I was
it
like, are we
could
getting
be that.
breaking
Yeah,
news?
breaking news, breaking news. Um, but yeah, it's tough to think that, somebody would ride with you and actually help you to get to this level of life. And then, you know, if it is the case that the wife, is kind of whispering in his ear, or just at this point, he wants to get a little extra or more, like, hey, I didn't get what I thought I should have gotten from the movie and all of that. Like, I just hope that the family dynamic isn't in breakdown over something like that. Like,
Right.
I hate that this is happening, but I hope it's actually happening the way that he says, for there to be this kind of dust up.
Yeah.
Because that's pretty awful to think about.
Yeah, it is. And and like I said, I hope they helped him for him.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that's always important. My camera running away from me. I'm sorry, y'all. But and I think that's the big thing. I don't want to cast aspersions on people and assume their intent, and oh, they saw dollar signs and everything else. So
Right.
I pray that, like, hey, we had this thing, you're rich, we're rich. you know we were rich before that, because I think they owned what, like 115 fast food restaurants, most of which they've sold
Yeah.
now.
For like they're like hundreds of millions of dollars. That is a lot of money
Mhm.
to, be worrying about. I think they said something about 750K that they might have gotten from the
Oh,
movie. That's peanuts. But
right.
also, if somebody, try to dupes you out of, and that's just a movie, because we also don't know what money has come out of, just his story other than that. And if
Mhm.
they are conservators, then they can put their hands on
A lot.
any of that money. So yeah, the hard part is that we know that things like this happen,
Mhm.
right? And it's unfortunate, white people, if you're watching, not all of you. That's how you do us. Not all of you. Just that's how I feel, right? We
Mhm.
know that you will take advantage of some situations, and in particular, thinking about, a poor black orphaned young man that has a promising future. It's not far fetched for us to think that, okay, this could happen, but at the same time, you would just hope, like,
Mhm. Yeah. And I
so
think
we did.
the central narrative is about knowledge, right? And the reality is, they had it, he didn't. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we understand what this is. We understand how money works. And had that been explained to him at the time, this could be avoided. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this is what this means. This is what it is. And
Mm-hmm.
so, like, when we talk about, like, the financial disparity between white and black people, a lot of it has to do with information. Like, there there's just a lot of white people that just understand money and how it works, and
Mm-hmm.
have the resources and the connections and everything else to make certain moves that we simply just don't.
Just can't. Yeah.
And they network together. And so it's like, it's not like black people don't, we say, oh, black people don't unify. We do, but with what? Right? They was like, oh, if we all
Mm-hmm.
come together, like, our resources still don't match theirs. You know what I
Right.
mean? And so it's also networking. um we have to understand what that is. Like, networking is not asking. So if you're coming with nothing, you're not networking, you're asking for a favor.
Right.
Right? And so it's like, you meet somebody, let's say, if I'm a rapper, you know
Mm-hmm.
and I meet Jay-Z, and I'm like, oh, we should exchange information.
He like,
and,
yeah.
and he's like, for
For
what?
what?
You know what I'm saying? So
Why?
unless I'm just that hot and he want to sign me, or I don't even think he has a label anymore. Like, what benefit am I to him?
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, unless he just wants to be benevolent and offer me an opportunity and put me on, okay. And sometimes that happens, but like, that's not networking. that's
Right.
that's discovery. That's helping. That, what I'm saying. Networking is you and I meet. You
Mutually
have something
beneficial.
of value to me, and I have something of value to you, and we're going to work together. You know, to pull that together. So a lot of times we have to be careful because we're like, oh, we got to pull each other up. Okay, I believe that we should, but that might look different. And so the thing is, if I'm in a circle of people, and we all got money and we making moves and you don't, then what does pulling you up mean? Right?
Mm-hmm.
I can teach you, but they're looking at like, hey, let me just get about 50K so I can make an invest. But you don't know anything about investing, right?
Investing. Right.
Because if
Mm-hmm.
you did, you would have the 50K. And if you don't have the 50K, then you don't know about doing things to acquire the 50K so that you can invest. So you got a circle of people that all came from nothing and we built that. So now the mental and emotional and monetary investment is higher than if I just gave it to you, right? Which
Mm-hmm.
is what I appreciate when you watch. So like when you watch shows like Shark Tank, I love Shark Tank, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that they ask is how much of your money have you put in
Have
this?
you put in this right?
Because if you walking in here expecting me to take all of the risk, then we not networking. And it's not a
Right.
deal. Go back.
Mm-hmm.
You need to assume some of the risk because just because I have it doesn't mean I have it to waste. You know what I mean? And I didn't get it by wasting, you know. So I think we can't shun and avoid the process of getting to a certain level to where we're able to network higher and higher, so it's
Yeah.
like you network with people that you're in your station to build together so that now you have something to offer somebody else as well. So it's a lot, but I just think that that's where a lot of the disparity comes from,
Mm-hmm.
is the resources and the information, and not to mention once we do get the information and the information changes or laws change, you know
Mm-hmm.
and another barrier, because anytime black people start coming up or banding together, there's always legislation to follow. Almost always, you know what I'm saying. um so yeah, it's and everything that we have built gets torn down or burnt down,
Mm.
you know.
It's
Um,
pretty sad.
yeah,
It's
so
pretty sad.
shout out to Michael Laura. Hope everything works out. Congratulations on the nuptials and the family, and hopefully this is just a family situation that can be resolved soon and peacefully. But if not, I hope he gets everything that he's owed. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and everything else. They would have to keep up the funds if there's no discussion, unless it was about money instead of supporting helping a child. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And it could be because I was thinking as I was, reading and listening to stuff, and I was like, what if it's literally just about the fact that he wanted to be adopted, right? Like my feelings are hurt, and it now looks a different way to me, even if that's
Mhm.
not necessarily what they've done, because his thought was like, I have a family,
Exactly. Yeah.
and now I'm a business arrangement.
Hmm.
So it could be
Yeah.
that.
It changes the fabric of who you are, because think of all of the memories that you've had have been connected to the fact that you believe these were your parents,
Hmm.
and now they're not. Or imagine, like, there have been cases when a child finds out the people who they believe to be their parents aren't really their parents, and that
Yeah.
literally changes your existence. You see what I'm saying? Because every memory you've had up to that point has been connected to the fact that this is where you come from, you know. And so it's not
Mhm.
something to really to brush off. So yeah. So our
Yeah.
last story of the
Oh,
day.
Hold on
Okay,
one
well,
second. We have more medical. Is RN business. I miss why y'all were talking about blood pressure, but also know that beta blockers can cause ED. So come on with it. You guys giving us all of the facts and sharing information. That's why we're here. So I think those are the lulls. So it's the statins and the
right.
lulls, right?
Penises rise up. That's the thing.
Because that's all y'all really care about. I was having that conversation this week. I said, they tried to give you a shot. This will prolong your life. You're like, yeah, that's cool. This will prolong your penis. Give it to me here.
But like, no, okay. And so, but we can't minimize that, right? Because here's your thing. There's in a world where we always talking about a real man this and a real man that, right? And women's need for us and blah 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 blah. Let's keep it 100. No woman wants to be in a sexless relationship,
I understand.
right?
I got you.
And that can't. And not to mention, we get shamed for our penis about our penis by women all the time. Even if it does work, if it's too small, you in the group chat, homie, right?
Oh, shit.
Y'all gonna share the pictures, all this other stuff. Now you could have something, and if it don't work, and how many women listen? That's the go-to. That's why yours don't work. Blah 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 blah.
You're not lying. You're not
You see
lying.
what
I'm just saying, y'all.
So
but
yes,
I get it. So you prioritize what we prioritize. Is that what you're saying?
We doing it for you.
Okay.
No, but like in all seriousness, it's like when your body. Okay, think about this. Think about how women feel going through menopause or their body changing, or wait, like you look in the mirror and you no longer see what you used to see. You no longer feel how you used to feel, right? Like life is different for you biologically.
Yeah.
Like, so when you when you a teenager through your 20s, you get hard for no reason at all. You just like, what boy? What do you see? What do you see? What do you see? You know what I'm saying? Like, you respond like that, and now your mind is there, ready and willing, but your body's not responding to it. So there's this disconnect between your mind and your body. Like, the head is willing, but the body is not. And so when you can't function, you look at your body, you're not muscular and have the energy and the virility that you used to. Like, these things affect us, even going bald. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a whole thing, right?
He's getting a nickname. We in the group chat, and you got a nickname.
Oh, listen. And there's something about having sisters that you find out all the like. Listen. So no, it's a real thing. It's a real concern, and so for a long time, and still even every now and then, like for me, like being bald and everything else, when you look in the mirror and you don't see what you used to see, you don't feel what you used to feel, like you're different, and have to accept your mortality, right? Or accept, like, hey, life is now different. You know what I'm saying? So you can't like go out and play ball as much as you want to, or your sex life is different, or you might be in this relationship and you want to connect with your partner in a way that you just can't anymore, or you can't function or perform in a way that you can't. So like, while you'll hear, oh well, like if you're talking kids, oh, men can have kids, blah 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 blah, but not if you can't get it up. And even if you can get it up, if you can't even like get as hard as you used to, it's not the same. So women reach their sexual peak later. So women in their 40s is ready to go. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And
Amen.
so, and now, but you can't. But in your 20s,
you know what I'm saying?
Like,
leave us alone.
Right. And we ready to, so that's why we stick in the move and everything. So now when the tables are turned, and we can't perform in the way that you need us to.
Well, you know what? I actually was listening to somebody give that as an argument for why, I think it's older. No, one of the olders. I guess it would be for older women to date younger men because you're more compatible.
Yeah.
In that
Sexually.
way. sexually. And I was like, oh yeah, that
Right.
kind
I
of
got a
makes sense.
homegirl that's dating a younger dude now.
But yeah, I mean, you just got to make sure other things are aligned, because I mean, I do too. I have,
Mhm.
a friend that is in that situation, and while that might be on point, there are some other concerns
Right.
because you are in different,
Yeah,
parts of your lives. Older
exactly.
women get them a young tender. Yeah, exactly,
Right.
exactly.
But to the previous
Buy a
comment, yeah,
PS5 and go
right.
on with
But
it.
to the previous comment where bald is in, like that's all well and good, but it still doesn't change the fact that you don't see what you used to see.
Hmm.
It's not about whether it looks good or not. It's like I am changing. I'm going into a
Yeah.
different facet of life. I'm getting closer to death. You know what I'm saying?
Damn. Yeah,
Like,
that's
like that's just what it is. Like it's a sign of your aging, your body is changing. You can't like, you if I wanted to change my hairstyle just because I wanted to, I can't. I can't grow locks. I can't wear it curly. I can't go get a fade. I can't get that crispy edge up. Like, all of those things. And while, yeah, one might see your bald head and be like, "Oh, I like that. That's sexy." Oh, I'm glad. I feel happy that I can still be attractive with a bald head, but it's about
mhm.
what I see.
Yeah, yeah. That's
And it
fair.
being different. You
That
know,
is that's absolutely fair. So we've talked. I don't want the people to feel cheated. So we are going to slide through Sha'Carri's win as the fastest woman alive. We won't spend a whole lot of time here because we do need to wrap up with
right?
the hurricane shenanigans. But Sha'Carri Richardson, many of you know her. She won the gold medal in the women's 100-meter race at the World Championships just yesterday, and set a new record with a 10.65 finish time and crowned as the fastest woman alive. And also at the same championships, the U.S. men's team, Noah Lyles, took home the gold for the men's 100 meters. And that's the first time since 2017 that both U.S.
Mhm.
men and women have won that at the same time. So shout out to the runners. Okay. That was just never
Right.
my thing.
Congratulations. But it's a big to do with Shikari. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
I'm happy for her. I'm not overly excited, you know. Um this is and I might get drugged for it, but y'all, like, everyone's like, "Oh, they counted her out." Nobody counted her out. Like, you got caught smoking weed and you did it. Like, and you did it.
Yeah.
So
And
all
you
this,
did it.
everyone's against me, like, and then like people was caping for at the time, like they didn't do Michael Phelps. Like Michael Phelps wasn't in competition. He was actually suspended for quite some time. It just his suspension didn't go into the season. So when she did it, played a large part, right? And so yeah,
Hmm.
she, wasn't able to qualify for the Olympic team. And while all that was unfortunate, the rules were the rules, and you broke a rule, right?
Right, right.
And so yeah, we would have loved to see you run, but then for me, it was kind of like she started doing a whole lot of talking,
Mm,
and talking a whole lot of shit. And so your first race after the incident, you came in dead last, right?
yeah, that was, yeah.
And so, like, okay, you got it together, you came back, you performing like you can. That's awesome. But the world didn't do this to you. you know.
Mm,
And it's kind of like the whole, like my feelings about Lizzo, how Lizzo will go out and you'll do something and the world responds to your actions. And
right.
then you get in your feelings because the world responded to it. You know what I'm saying? So folks make mistakes, folks make bad decisions. I get it. But folks are gonna have opinions about that. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
true. That's
And
true.
so it's not like people aren't supporting you or writing you off. But when you mess up, you mess up, and people are going to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
you can't live this public life and think that people are going to just ignore your mistakes and only comment with praise on everything you do, especially when you're not performing. This is the first race you've won.
Well, way to do it. Sha'Carri,
Right, you did it. You did it.
make your comeback.
And
Come back, honey.
I want to see you win more gold. So the thing is this: if you want the world to praise you, win. Like nothing,
Man, now
nothing
that's
said.
true,
Yeah,
Jazz. That they're
yeah.
gonna talk, even if you don't mess up. That is the truth. You
But
know,
yeah,
just being in the public eye, honey,
right.
it's gonna come with it.
But you determine what people are going to say. Like nothing shuts people up like winning. Period. You don't have to do that because you was
Mhm.
talking crazy about the Jamaicans and stuff like that, and they came out and they smoked you the first time. So when she got quiet and got in the lab, now she's winning.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Same thing with Kobe. Kobe had a whole rape case, right? What do? Start winning. You know what I'm
Lord.
saying? R. Kelly had a whole tape out. What do? Start winning. Chocolate Factory. Now he
Child.
started losing again. People
He
reminded
start,
he
he start losing.
well, people like folks is like, hey, remember that one time R. Kelly was messing with young girls? Let's talk about that again 20 years later.
Yeah.
And then,
We should have
so
never stopped talking about it. But
I mean, here's my opinion on R. Kelly is he should be getting out of jail right now
yeah.
because he should have been in jail 20 years ago. So
Yeah.
I don't want to hear folks, oh, screw R. Kelly, cancel R. Kelly. He made you forget what he did with Chocolate Factory, so you didn't cancel. Like he did what? Step in the name of like
Mm-hmm.
he put his best album out in the middle of a storm, and y'all
That's
forgot.
crazy. That's crazy. But you ain't lying. You
You
ain't
see what I'm
lying.
saying? And it wasn't speculation. It
No.
was playing in every barbershop across America. Like it's
Yeah.
on
I
tape.
still haven't seen it. I mean, what I have seen are the parts of that they put in that documentary, which you can't really see anything. I think
I
you see
didn't
like him look in the camera, but I
yeah,
didn't
I
see.
didn't
But
bother watching the documentary because for what? You know
um,
what I'm saying? Like
I watched it
one,
because I
yeah.
just watch things.
The,
I'm a documentary person, so it's
well, I didn't to me the documentary being out was shameful because to me it was a money grab. You grabbing money for something we already knew and should have did something about 20 years ago. And I'm not saying he don't deserve to be in jail. I'm just saying it takes all of this social media hype machine and everything else for something that should have happened a long time ago.
well, I just think we're in a place now where things that we looked at and kind of was like, hmm, now folks are like, nah, right? Like in the 90s, girls were dating older guys or dating men. In
Mhm.
the before the 90s,
Yes.
girls were dating men. So I don't, I just think where we are as a society and what people will stand for and what they won't. Yes, social media is a part of that. But with all of the movements that have happened, there's just kind of no way to have something like this in the atmosphere and people not react and want to see, something
Yeah.
happen.
I mean,
So
but
I agree it should have happened, but also I just think that, this time and place at this point is people are like, yeah, I
eh,
might not have seen it that way, but now, I
right.
mean, the video itself is shameful enough. But I'm just saying, just on the strength of, dating teenagers or 17-year-olds, because some people feel like 17 is close enough, and then there's some folks that's like, no, that's 17.
Mm,
So, I just think we're at a point in
yeah.
time now where folks are just like, nah, it's
I
an
think
absolute
I
no.
think it was an easy target. I don't think that was the point of the documentary. I think the documentary comes out and they're like, "Oh, this documentary is out. We got to do something." Right? Like without the documentary, he's still free living his life. You see what I'm saying? Which is like due process should have happened when it happened. You
No,
feel
I
me?
agree.
And
I agree.
so, I mean, I shed no tears, but I just think like this it's just the bigger thing with cancel culture. Oh, we don't like this. Let's make a thing out of it, right? Like Kyrie Irving and the whole anti-Semitism thing where he never said anything. Hey, I posted this, and now it's apologize. And then Kevin Hart called it like so. It's like when somebody doesn't like something, it's not just about like who's dating who. When there's a group that decides to come together and say we don't like this, and this thing, it's like you know, you just gotta what everything is eggshells now.
Oh,
Everything is eggshells.
true, but that needed to be rectified. So I don't feel no kind of way about it.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
yeah, I shed no tears. I'm just
I
saying,
don't feel
like,
no kind of way about it. Yes, it should have been done earlier, but I can't act like I didn't do a shuffle or two to step in the name of love. So I just
we all
been
did
at
because it was a
been at
bomb
enough
album.
weddings. Yeah, I was like, you've been to enough weddings. You was stepping in the name of love.
Did
What
it
we
for
doing?
love, yeah.
Yeah, just
Listen,
so
so
we just might needed to have been reminded. Hey,
ain't
this
nobody
ain't
forgot.
this ain't right. No, that is not right. Not that
Mhm,
he needed to be reminded that he did it.
mhm.
And then also maybe to the extent, maybe some people thought, like I said, this okay, but some of the stuff that came out and torturing and all, like that might have
Mhm.
been over the line for some folks where they were like, oh no, we got to get this
Well,
together.
and so I'll say this. I'll say this. I could give a damn what they said on the documentary because it's unfounded, right? Like we can't prove any of the documentary stuff except now the video. It's a video.
Mhm.
That's all for me. That's it. Like there's nothing else to be said. There's a video
Yeah.
of this one. Like it only needed to be this one incident with this. We know it's right here. So all this other stuff, we don't need that because again, it turns into a witch hunt. We don't know what's true, what's not. They could have said anything, and just because you put it in the documentary, just like people come on the internet and say anything, and it's easy to say because we know he's already done something similar to it, right? So
Yeah.
it's kind of like he can't come out and say I didn't do that. They be like, yes, you did, because you got this video, right? So for me, I don't need any other documentary. Hey, here's this video over 20 years ago
Mm-hmm.
that we know he did it. It stands to reason he might
Right.
still be doing it. Whether he's still doing it or not, we know he did it. So just deal with this. That's all you really have to do. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Well, they did. They dealt with that only because the the girl is finally spoke. Like how did you couldn't force that. If
She
somebody
spoke
saying that's
for
not me, well,
yeah.
that I
And the
don't know. I might have
auntie.
my. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
no, and the auntie
Oh, I
spoke
know
for.
the auntie did. I
Yeah.
definitely knew that she did.
Yeah. So he guilty as hell.
Anywho,
But
we
yeah.
are we are way past time. But
Oh.
for those of you who were in the line of the storm, Southern California, Nevada, I think like Utah and Idaho. I don't know. I was trying to like follow the path. Over the weekend, there was projected to be a Hurricane Hilary, and the um, folks went into prep mode. Some people did. Some people were like, it's probably not going to
Mhm.
be that bad. And what I said, whether it's a little rain, a lot of rain, or whatnot, I just felt like, especially SoCal, like, definitely could stand to take a pause and like prepare yourself for a natural disaster.
Mhm.
We don't get, when I say we, I'm not even there anymore, but you don't get those types of things often. And even, earthquakes, which actually happened this weekend, generally, we get a little shake, and then we're good for a couple of years and we're going about our business. But if something devastating were to occur, there would be so many people that would be unprepared. So I was glad to see that people were taking it seriously. They were, getting their batteries and their flashlights and water and canned goods or whatever, just to be safe. But of course, for many, it was not the major event that they thought. Might have had some power knocked out, might have been some flooding in some areas, but by and large, everyone that I've, spoken to has been okay. And I just say, thank God that it wasn't,
Yeah.
because again, people aren't prepared for that.
Yeah. I was in my feelings a bit to see how cavalier a lot of people back home were.
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, it ain't gonna be nothing. And then when it was lighter than they anticipated, everybody, the folks out, I told you so, I told you so. And the thing is, by the grace of God, yes, it
That
was
part.
blessed, right?
Yeah.
Like that was a blessing because for me, I guess it's the PTSD. Like I moved to Houston, I moved out here, and then Harvey hit. Like when I
Yeah.
first got here, right? So I know what it can be, you know.
Yeah.
And I think my concern is the fact that they're not taking into consideration a hurricane came where hurricanes don't come.
Don't come. That part.
And it can happen again. And if it happens again, you might think, oh, well, last time it wasn't,
It wasn't nothing.
and then it's something. So everybody turned into a meteorologist. Like, y'all, if you've never been through it and experienced it, it ain't nothing to mess with. You see what I'm saying? Like
Mm.
people lost their lives, people lost their homes, city shut down. Hell, we got a tropical storm heading to us out here, again with tropical storm Harold,
Mm.
so and it's different out here. So the thing is, don't always be prepared, and be blessed that it's not what it could be, instead of taking that arrogant stance like, I knew it, like, no, y'all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I pray that you're always right. I pray that,
Right,
because
you're always right.
right, if you're gonna be cavalier, I pray that you're right, because I wish that on no one, like,
Mm-hmm.
did we not learn from Katrina? Did we not learn from Harvey?
Man.
Um, like people's lives are forever changed because of these events, you know, and and also to be that cavalier in some ways is a slap in the face to the people that experienced, and lost things. I was blessed not to have lost, during Harvey, but people lost their homes and their lives and had to rebuild after Katrina, and the same thing after Harvey, you know.
Yeah.
So it's not a laughing matter. Just continue to pray. Thank God that it wasn't, thank God that the earthquake didn't cause major damage and everything else, because there comes a time when things are changing, and things are definitely changing, because you're seeing
Changing.
events around the world that don't happen in these areas,
Yeah.
so that's my major concern with it. Just to always be prepared, because you never know when the tide is going to shift.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we definitely, thoughts and prayers go out to anybody that was affected, even if it was minor. We are grateful that it did not wind up being what was projected. But to your point, it is concerning that, the climate is changing rapidly. And so, stay prepared as much as possible and heed the warnings, even if it feels like, it might be a waste of time. You just never know. So stay safe out there and do your very best. Do your best. Do your best. So
Absolutely. So
that's that. I like that. We did spend a lot of time on health in the beginning, but I think that was so very important, and we should absolutely make sure one of our upcoming episodes
what's good,
is
cuz? Oh, what's
dedicated to
good?
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we definitely want to touch more on physical and mental and financial health.
Mm-hmm.
It's so big, especially for our community. So, y'all, I challenge y'all, just the way that I'm feeling, in the past like 2 days, just 2 days, I've gotten a lot more energy. So, I challenge y'all for the rest of the week, if you can, go no carb, right? Like, processed, like the white rice or the potatoes and all this other stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and bread, go a few days without that and see how you feel. Just try protein and vegetables. I
It makes a
know
difference.
yesterday for dinner I had a salad for lunch, a chicken salad for lunch, and for dinner I had some grilled chicken, broccolini, and a couple of boiled eggs. And then tonight I was craving a steak, so I did have a steak and some asparagus. But like I haven't had
Mm-hmm.
carbs just 2 days, and I'm like, oh damn, I feel different,
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so get start
Well,
throwing
we'll
your
check in
pictures
next week.
around.
We're gonna see. We're
Yeah, I
gonna see
might. I
how.
hope I don't fall off the. Because listen, the flesh does get weak. So,
Yeah, we're gonna
Lord,
talk about it.
right,
We're
as
gonna
I'm
talk
sipping my
about it.
beverage. But y'all, until then, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all for riding with us. We love our roadies and road dogs. And until next week, always remember,
Be
be
free
free
to
to be
be
you.
you.
We love y'all.
That's supposed to be just my line.
That's your line. I'm sorry. I'm stepping on lines.
So,
Oh, just